Rafael Silva was an ordinary journalist in a small town, where his life followed a predictable routine. He wrote about local events, from park inaugurations to heat waves. Everything seemed normal until the day Rafael noticed something strange. The things he wrote about began to happen exactly as described in his articles. The first event was a park inauguration, where every detail he had written, from the red balloon slipping from a girl's hand to the mayor's speech, occurred with eerie precision. At first, he attributed this to coincidences. However, when a heat wave hit the town a few days after he had written about it, he began to wonder if there was more to it. Rafael decided to test his theory. He wrote about a strike that would occur at a local factory. The next day, the workers went on strike, just as he had described. Scared but intrigued, he confided in his colleague at the editorial office, Julio. "Are you telling me you wrote about the strike before it happened?" Julio asked, incredulous. "Yes, and it's driving me crazy, Julio. I don't know if I'm predicting the future or causing these events," Rafael replied, with a worried tone. Julio tried to calm his friend, suggesting that perhaps it was just a series of coincidences. But deep down, Rafael knew something very strange was happening. Over time, Rafael's curiosity turned into temptation. One night, after drinking a few glasses of wine, he decided to test the limits of his power. Sitting in front of the computer, he wrote about an explosion at a power plant, describing in detail the chaos that would follow. The next day, the town was shaken by the news of an explosion exactly as he had described. Guilt and remorse consumed Rafael, but he also realized he held unimaginable power in his hands. "What did you do, Rafael? You wrote about this before it happened, didn't you?" Julio asked, his eyes wide with fear. Rafael, his voice trembling, admitted, "I wanted to prove it was real, but now, people have died because of it." Julio, panicking, begged Rafael to stop, but the journalist knew he couldn't just ignore what was happening. Tormented by guilt, Rafael decided to use his power for good. He wrote an article about the discovery of a miraculous cure for a rare disease that was devastating the town. When the article was published, the town was in an uproar. Doctors began frantically searching for the cure. For the first time, Rafael felt he could do good. But when he went to the hospital to check on the situation, he was confronted by a mysterious man waiting for him. "You really thought you were in control, Rafael? That you could play God?" the man said, handing him a manuscript. "What is this?" Rafael asked, confused. "This is the real author of the story you thought you were writing," the man replied with a sinister smile. Rafael, his hands trembling, began to read the manuscript. In it were all the articles he had written, but what terrified him was the last chapter, the death of a journalist. "This can't be true. I won't die," Rafael shouted in despair. The man, coldly, simply said, "You've already written your own destiny, Rafael. Now, accept it." Rafael tried to escape, but he knew it was impossible to flee from a destiny he had sealed himself. In the end, he realized he was never in control. His power was an illusion, and his life ended as a warning about the dangers of trying to control fate. The power to shape the future is a dangerous illusion. Those who try to control destiny end up being consumed by it. Sometimes, the wisest choice is to accept what we cannot change and live with the consequences of our actions.